The House of Representatives receiving a classified briefing on the recent U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear site. The briefing included members of Trump's cabinet, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Dan Kane. The White House projecting confidence in the success of last weekend's attack, but lawmakers are disagreeing on the extent of the damage to Iran's nuclear program. Here's a bit of what lawmakers had to say coming out of that briefing.
We delivered a major setback that resulted then in a feeble face-saving response from Iran, and immediately thereafter a ceasefire agreement. It is clear, everyone can see by the videos, that these massive ordnance penetrating bombs did the job. And I think their key facilities have been disabled, and I think Iran is now a long time away from doing what they might have done before this very successful operation.
For more, I want to bring in senior national policy reporter Anne Flaherty. Anne, Iran is claiming the U.S. is exaggerating the damage to their facilities. Lawmakers, as you heard, leaving the briefing wondering whether or not these nuclear facilities are actually obliterated, like the president, the word the president chose to use. What do we know about the success of this mission at this time?
Yeah, Phil, I think that word obliterated is what has prompted this huge debate about how successful it really was, because just to keep in mind that it takes days to weeks to months to actually figure out, comb through the intelligence and figure out what actually has happened with something like a strike at this level. So what we do know is that the Defense Intelligence Agency has done a very initial quick pass the day after the strikes to look at the satellite imagery, to look at the information that they had on hand, and they determined that many of these sites were, in fact, severely damaged, that some of the entrances were, for example, closed off or sealed off in the bombing. But then the question is whether or not anything remains intact or if the enriched uranium was moved in advance. So that's the question that we still have, Phil.
And President Trump also speaking about these strikes at the White House today. What more did he have to say?
Yeah, so he talked about the supreme leader there and saying that, you know, I would consider bombing again if we needed to. But he said clearly there was no victory for them. I think we have some of his words here. Let's take a listen.
I'm going to respond to the Ayatollah's statement yesterday that we won the war. Oh, God, we won the war. And I said, look, you're a man of great faith, a man who's highly respected in this country. You have to tell the truth. You got beat to hell. And Israel was beat up too. They were both beat up. And it was a great time to end it.
Yeah, so that is the president there saying that, you know, he wants the whole thing over, but of course the enemy gets a vote. We'll see what happens next, Phil.
Anne Flaherty, thank you so much.